Welcome to Keyframers, the animated collaborative coding livestream where we bring imaginative user interfaces to life. I'm your host, Stephen Shaw, but you may know me as @Shashaw.
And I'm your host, David Khourshid, also known as David K. Piano.
And together we are animation coding compadres, animation amigos, Boolean buddies, and keyframe companions.
And we mess up sometimes. It's okay.
All the time.
All the time. Yeah, that's what we're known for. Really.
That's the theme.
So we'll be creating an animation, as always, from scratch, live, using HTML, CSS, and some JavaScript.
That's right. And this show is made possible by your support. You can pledge at patreon.com/keyframers to support our show, or you can subscribe right here at twitch.tv/keyframers. Links are available below, and you may even earn some special shout outs as we go during the stream.
That's right.
That's right.
So we're also... and of course, ask questions in the chat. We will answer them. If I actually could see them, I should probably look at the chats.
Oh, David.
I forget to do that sometimes. So, and I'm like, wow, no one has questions, but that's because I'm not seeing any of them.
Because you're not paying attention, David.
I need to focus. You just need to focus.
Yes. Well, shall we start moving into what we're working on this week?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So we got a bit of a challenge earlier this week, or I guess last week now, from Charles. He sent over Dynamic Buttons by Colin Garvin. And this is a rather interesting animation. Has a lot of different aspects to it. Basically, clicking the send button creates a progress bar. An error occurs, so it gives you two options, whether to resend or cancel. And then it goes into resending back to the progress bar, and then goes to complete. So what do you think? We've got a lot of state management happening here.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I wanted to emphasize, is that the first thing you want to do, even before you start coding, is to just mentally or physically break this down into a few different states in this one, right?
That's right. And David is on some sketchy internet at the moment, so if he freezes like that again, I'll just make some snide comment.
He'll get rid of me.
Yeah. So our first step here is basically going to be to recreate each of these steps. So we've got error, we've got progress, we have the initial state of just a button to click, and then the confirmation. Hey, thanks for following. This should be rather interesting. Why don't we get started?
Yeah, so I already did.
Hey.
Just the very bare minimum.
Hey,
right?
Stop working without me.
Okay, I'm sorry. Just setting some scaffolding up. That's all. But it's very minimal scaffolding. It's something that you would set. So all I have right here is one single state.
Yeah.
We have send. Now, what I need your help with is, I think last episode or the episode before, you had this flexbox centering trick where it's like sort of a companion to our layers trick, right? Except instead of absolute positions, we have elements of unknown dimensions that need to be centered on top of each other, even though they're not all the same size.
That's right.
So
hey, thanks for following. Yeah, I haven't come up with a catchy name for it yet. Something like flex margin, flex overlap, something along those lines. I think we first pioneered this in the gliding gallery episode, which you all should check out. There's a lot of good techniques in that one. Link is in the chat.
How about flattened flex?
Flattened flex.
Yeah, because you're flattening all the layers on top of each other, and it's using flex.
Unflexible flex?
Flexi flex. No, flat flex.
Flat flex. Flat
flex.
flex. Yeah, sure.
It's like
fun
Netflix.
Flex to the third dimension, yes. Flex 3D.
Yeah.
Yeah. Afflex. Get a little duck mascot for it. So yeah, I'm gonna do that here. So is our app gonna be the entire container?
Yeah, the app's the entire container.
Okay.
And so everything else is going to lie on top of that.
All right. So the first step of that trick is to set display flex on the parent. And then for the layers that we want to overlap, we set them to width 100%, margin right -100%. And then
Explain to me how that works again.
So the basic idea is with Flexbox, typically you're just lining items up along one line, and you can wrap to different rows and do that kind of stuff. But typically it's just going to be on one axis. But if we set the children of that to be 100% wide, but also with a margin right of -100%. That basically collapses all of those layers on top of each other. And that gives us the overlapping that we're looking for.
Okay.
So yes, if I add the UI layer really quick.
Yeah.
I think you're breaking some things as we go.
No.
As for the question in the chat about making a Udemy course soon, yeah, we have some ideas along those lines. Just stay posted. We actually have a small microsite at keyframe.rs that you can sign up there.
Keyframers?
Keyframe.rs, and that'll give you a simple sign up for a newsletter or notification, so that we can reach out to you when we have some more concrete news on that.
Mm-hmm. It's a work in progress. All right, so right now you have width 100%. That's problematic because we don't want them to fill up the entire width.
Right. So previously you had it wrapped in a UI layer, and
well, I don't anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, fine, but they should be. You're right.
I think that makes the most sense. And then in terms of let's see, div class equals UI layer. Sorry. Is there a reason you typically will do a div instead of a button?
A laziness, but it probably should be a button. In fact, let's be semantic today. Let's make it a button. We just have to have some corrective styling, I like to call it. So we're going to go to the button and do appearance none, and then you have to do like backgrounds, like I don't know, transparent or something like that.
Yeah.
Are they perfectly centered? I can't tell.
They currently aren't centered because we're not doing anything to actually center them. If we do display block and margin auto, then we get some nice centering.
So why don't just icon and center align item center? What if we did? That doesn't work.
You can do display flex on UI layer and then and do all the justifying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because the layers need to be the full kind of gamut.
Okay, so they're on top of each other. Perfect. This is looking like, remember when you did development in Flash? I don't know if you did, but you had those onion layers on top of each other where you could see different points of time at the same time.
Yeah. I'm familiar with that.
Yeah, it's what's going on here.
Like Shrek, the onion and the layers.
Like Shrek. Yeah. Lots of layers. Makes you cry. All that good stuff. Okay. So over here we have two different states at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, what we talked about with finite state machines and all that sort of stuff is that you could only have one state active at a time. And that's a driving force behind this whole concept. And so I have an idea. So I'm going to show this in the chat, but I made a small dribble for a conference talk a couple weeks ago. And
Excellent.
oh, I have to log into Twitch. That's right. I didn't even log in. Why didn't I?
Oh, David.
Okay, well, anyway, it's a simple modal app, but what I want to show.
You can shoot it to me and okay, there you go.
Yeah, there we go. All right, so do you all see that?
Yeah, I've got it pulled up now.
Okay, perfect. So it's just going from states to states, and so I'm using some of the techniques that we've used before, such as having data states in the app, right, and having data show for to the apps. The password is password, by the way.
Yes.
So you type password. It should do that, which and then it takes you to my repo. Anyway, so there's a function in here. If you go down to activate, and this sort of stems off of a lot of what we've been doing in the episode, which is just remember when we were manually doing like data state equals this, data show equals that same states, and we were hard coding it in the CSS.
Yeah.
So this is one approach. It's not the approach. It's one approach to doing this. So I have activate state, and what that's going to do is it's going to set the data active data attribute for the chosen states.
I dig it.
So for example, let's say that my so where's my UI layer? All right, so UI layer is initially going to be display none. So display none, and then
you're back over here.
Yeah, and so when it's data active, display block. Now, of course, we could use visibility and all that stuff, but I just wanted to show you. And so now back in the JavaScript, if I call activate send.
We do need to define lapp.
Oh, that's right.
That's Spanish for app, by the way.
It stands for the app.
Yes.
Oh, doc is not defined. Where's doc?
Doc.
What's up, doc? Where do I have doc? Oh, let's hold on. Console.clear. Right. So what should be happening is actually hold on. lapp.dataset.state equals state.value. Just kidding. All right. So let's make that states just to be about that. Okay. Now it should show. I think.
Nope. Data state equals send. Data show equals send. Let's do some console logging of the element there. Let's see if that pulls it up. It does. Get that.
Yeah. All right. So maybe it's my CSS. So and data active, display block. I have it on the button. That's why. So it's the HTML. So when it's not the JavaScript, when it's not the CSS, the problem is in the HTML. Well, that's good that we discovered this early. Anyway, so yeah, you're going to see that it shows just send. And so, no. Oh, okay, you were just, all right. Yes. And so if I do sent, then it's only going to show the sent state. Ta-da. And so we could use this. This is like being on an episode of Junkyard Wars. I don't know if you've ever seen that show.
Oh, yes.
And just finding something really, really, really useful inside of an old car and just, being like, this is going to be great. So that's this function. It's like from a junkyard. That's what it looks like, but it's going to work great.
We'll see. No, that is super awesome, and I updated the l.set attribute to just use l.dataset, which may be a little confusing, but dataset is basically just a quick way to access all of those data attributes that are on an element, and this actually goes back to I think IE 10 or 11.
IE4.
It's been around for a little while, so it's
goes
very
back
safe.
To Netscape, even.
Very safe to use.
Actually, probably doesn't. But yeah.
But yeah, it's a much quicker way to access and set those attributes rather than using element.setAttribute.
All right. So I sort of want to do, I want to get into the transitions. And so we'll see how much time we have for absolutely everything today. But the main thing I want to focus on with this animation is just, number one, going between our states. So send, sending, sent, or error, as we might see.
Yes.
And then actually transitioning smoothly between those. So I'm going to add a sending state. That is show equals sending. And so that's just going to be, that's not even going to be a button. That's just going to be like, it's sort of
that's the progress. Yeah.
Yeah. UI progress. Yeah, so I'm just going to make a UI progress. Now, we're not going to use the native progress, and that's because it's a pain in the ass to style, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
I might be wrong.
Cross browser, it is very tricky to get that working.
Yeah. All right, so it's about 0.25 rems high with, I have no idea, 10 rems. I'm just randomly doing this. And so over here, I could do activate sending. And so we could see what that looks like so far. Of course, it looks like nothing because I need to add actual colors. And so this is going to be, oops, oh shoot. Background color. We have this DDDD. Is that big enough? I don't know.
That should probably be 5. There we go. And border radius 50%. Oh no, that doesn't need to be 50%. It should be 5.
Sweet. Thanks for the rounding. And so we could also overflow hidden that.
Yes.
And then we also need that color. Yeah, we'll just make it blue. Oh gosh.
Good gravy. Have you position relative to everything?
No, I have.
Okay.
You know what? There was Getify.
Roughly.
All right, so he's the author of You Don't Know JavaScript.
Yes.
And so, funny enough, he also advocated for, and I'm still not saying it's correct or anything, but he also advocated for my position relative everywhere thing. And so he was sort of echoing the same concerns I had with not doing position relative everywhere.
Yes.
But whatever. That's a discussion for another day.
I bumped the font size down. Let me know in the chat if that's too small. I'm just trying to fit a little bit more code size on the screen.
Yeah. So let's have some fun with CSS variables. So I'm setting like a progress variable to 0.25 to represent 25%. And so I'm thinking with before, if I transform translate x calc, so negative 100%. Wait, what am I trying to do? Negative 100, because I want it to be,
you could do
negative,
just scale
negative
x.
negative 75%. So plus there. But here's why I don't want to do scale. The rounded corners. Yeah. I thought about that.
Does the internal one have rounded? Yeah, it does. It's got some rounding there. What resources do you recommend for getting good at vanilla JavaScript besides You Don't Know JavaScript? I would recommend You Do Know JavaScript, the companion series. I don't know if that exists. But for real, Wes Boss's JavaScript 30 is great.
Oh, yes.
That's a good dive into some real practical applications of JavaScript, and he's just a great teacher overall. Okay, transform translate X. Okay.
Yes, I would definitely recommend Wes Boss's stuff. Also, CSS Tricks has so many goodies when it comes to JavaScript in general. So speaking of JavaScript, here's what I'll do. I'll set up the state machine a little bit if you want to create the loading animation, like just the progress animation.
Sure. Yeah. So I started some states down there because I'm trying to get more familiar with the
Cool.
state
No,
machine setup.
this looks great.
Is that how you would approve?
You're good.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's.
No, that's great. I'm not even gonna touch it. Well, I'm gonna add stuff to it, but I'm not gonna modify it.
And I'm adding our friend transition all.
That's a good friend to have.
Yes. For the loading animation, are you just wanting an actual animation, or is this going to be powered with JavaScript?
I'm thinking let's just do a fake loading animation, and the reason why is because 90% of sites that have that like weird loader thing, even what you see on the top of YouTube, the top of GitHub, like all those bars, they are fake. I hate to break it to you, but they are so very fake. No, it's completely true that they're fake. They don't represent the actual progress of the downloaded speed. Instead, what they do is they estimate how long it would take with your connection speed to download that web page. And then they do a statically defined animation based on that average duration. And that's why, and this is a big giveaway, you'll see it sort of hang like at 75%. Have you ever noticed that? Where it's like, oh yeah, it's downloading, cool, it's going fast and everything, and then it's like hanging at 75%.
Yes. And ooh, hey, that actually works if you spell things correctly.
Could you make it look random, or could you make it start from 0, or?
Yes. I was going to add in a couple of different states to the progress, but wanted to explain this really quick. First, Lacoste in the chat. Any examples on how to implement a finite hydrophobic quantum state machine in Vuex or another state management library? I don't know anything about quantum.
That's a premium tutorial. You have to pay for that.
Yes. No, for that, yeah. The principles are all basically the same. It's just a matter of the specifics of those libraries. On XState, do you have some examples of integration with a framework?
Yes, I do. And people have also written articles about it, which surprises me. People who are not me, which is amazing. It's like, wow, people actually use this. Yeah, there's examples in React and Vue, and I'm also going to be making Angular examples once I figure out my way around Angular.
Okay, I was getting some working. Why is that not working anymore? Okay, that's weird. So this is something I ran into the other day. Oops. Hey, give me back my state.
Sorry.
With keyframe animations in CSS, animating CSS vars is not currently a thing. You have to have some flags enabled and use some JavaScript to specifically reference a CSS variable as something that can be animated. But in this case, by applying the animation to the parent, it's kind of working, which is interesting.
Oh, hey, that's good.
Let's go. Let's just see if that works. I don't think that will, but
that's interesting.
Yeah. However, when I add in additional keyframes here, it does not work. Oh, well, it kind of does there for a second. Let's see. So yeah, by doing it on the parent and then the transition on the child there, for some reason that's working. But I'm thinking for this, we just drop the CSS variable. Oh, you're doing actual percentage. Okay, that's why it was working, because I was nullifying the variable and making it broken. Let's see.
Right.
Maybe that'll... Oh, hey, that actually works. Okay, this is a this is a great way to get around it. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay. So by animating the CSS variable on a parent, that seems to work, and having the transition on the child there. Let's do 4%. That's actually super cool.
Cool, cool. All right, I need some more L's. So, I'm gonna add IDs. I don't recommend adding IDs, but they make things a lot easier. Over here, const L send button equals talking about clicks. Yeah, and especially for prototyping, IDs help a lot. But when you're in an app, don't use IDs.
In general.
But don't use classes either, because classes represent more than one thing. But don't use data attributes because it's the same thing.
Just don't use
why
use HTML.
Yeah, why aren't we using IDs? Well, it depends on the framework you're using. But honestly, my pragmatic, I don't know, pseudo wisdom or whatever is use IDs for what IDs are intended for, which is if there is only one and you can guarantee there is only going to be one of that element. That's what IDs are for. So, yeah. So let's see, L send button dot add event listener click. Send click. Okay, so let's just see if this works. Just to test things out, I'm on the initial state, which is send, right?
Yes.
Oh wait, activate current state. Why? I wonder why that is showing as well.
That's a good question.
It should not be. Data show. Data.
Is the attribute on?
Oh, hold on, sorry. So UI layer data show equals sending. It should be display none. So let's figure out why it's not display none.
Hold on, let me.
Oh, all right. So it's because I'm checking if, okay, so data active equals, I guess it literally has to be the string true. All right, so that's why. Weird. Anyway, so if you click the send button, it's going to, or it should go to next to send on click sending. So console.log next date, and we can open the console. So it doesn't seem to be registering the click at all. Oh, wait, add event listener, click, send click, L send button. I have, oh, geez, I put on the wrong thing again. Funny enough, tonight, all my mistakes are happening in the
HTML?
Yes, in the HTML, which, all right, cannot read property on of undefined. Oh, sorry. Machine dot states. All right, so basically it's, and I'll comment this. Get the current state and gets the next state based on the event. Okay, so if you click send, it's going to go to loading. There we go.
Yes, going to sending. All right. And it loads backwards.
It's like you don't deserve your downloads. So.
That's right.
That's really funny. All right, so for now, I'm just going to set it back to initial, unless you're done with the loader.
Yeah, basically.
Are you?
Yeah, sure.
You don't have to be.
Nah, that's fine.
Okay, cool.
Come back
so,
to it.
I'm thinking now, how many seconds should we have it load for? How many seconds is it loading for?
Right now the animation is 4 seconds long.
All right, 4 seconds long. Cool.
Yeah. Feels longer than that, but it's just infinite. So, do we actually need 2 different states, or because how are we going to send error the first time and then send not error the second time?
Okay, I'll show you. So, and that's a very good question. So, for this sending event, there's something in, well, state charts really, called onEntry, which means basically what you know, who would think it would mean. And so onEntry is just an action that happens when you enter the state. And so over here we could say onEntry, and just for example, we could say set timeout. And remember, this is like just an intro to like the general concepts. I'm not going to get too deep into everything, I promise. So we could say send sent, right? And we could do that over 4,000 seconds. And then in our send function, we could check if like const next or entry action is machine. Again, get the current state, so state's current state, and then dot on entry. So if there's an entry action, we can execute it.
So entry action happens on the next one?
Yes, well, when you get into the next state. And so
not when you enter that state.
Well, no. Well, when you do enter that state. So let's see. Right now, currently, we're on send. And then when we click send, we're going to be going to sending, right? And then 4 seconds later.
See, I think you're that needs to be an activate of next state, the entry action. Or at least it needs to, because state's current state.
All right, hold on. Let's take a look at this. All right, so
because it should be when you move into sending, it calls the entry action for sending.
Right, which is exactly what it's doing here. But let's just make sure that we're actually getting that entry action that we defined. So when we click, it's undefined. Oh, because I'm doing the next date.
Right.
Okay, so you're right. You're right.
You always sound so surprised, David. I don't know why.
All right, so if current state is not the same as the next date, then here's my mistake. It should be state's next date. All right, so just to digest what's going on here, first let me actually see if it. Oh, I had to move all that up here too. And of course, feel free to ask any questions. But all right, let me just test this real quick first.
Ta-da!
Oh yes, it works. Cool. And it should go to sense though, right?
Yes, but did we? Let's see. Data show sent. Yeah, that's sent. Yeah, it should be.
Okay, hold on. So we click send. It's sending after 4 minutes, or sorry, 4 seconds. That'd be
a very
really
slow loader.
Oh, that's, you know what? I'm an idiot. So, current state equals next state. Obviously, we need to change the current state.
That's
okay.
Important.
Yes, that's good. Sorry, I'm running on like 3 hours of sleep as always. Okay, that works. Perfect. Okay, so here's what's happening. When we enter, or once this whole machine starts, we're on the send state, correct?
Mm-hmm.
When you click send, it goes to sending, right?
Yes.
And so now we're on the sending state. When you enter that sending state, we're going to send the sent event 4 seconds later. And so that's going to send us to the sent state. Sound good?
Yep.
Okay, now you're saying like how to go between the two. We're gonna make it really easy this time. Like just to not, confuse or whatever. So we're gonna say if math.random is less than 0.5, then send sent. You can probably see where this is going.
Nope, no idea.
Okay, otherwise, actually that's not. Else, send error. So now you have a 1 in 2 chance of either the send being successful or it not being successful.
Let's see. What will we get? Vote in the chat now. Oh, we got positive. Okay. And then
Right, I'm gonna add a ID for the sent button too.
Yeah. Couldn't that just be a query selector for all the UI buttons?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll set that up. You
okay, sure.
You keep going.
All right, so L sent button dot add event listener click. And so the beauty of this model is that oh wait, you're right. So yeah, because it would just be the same action. Okay,
right.
so
right.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Anyway, the beauty of this model is that your event listener is small. It stays small. And that's what it's supposed to do. Because it's only supposed to emit an event.
That's right. Yeah, no logic in those event listeners.
Right. It's just sending a thing. It's just good software architecture in general. Like whether you're dealing with JavaScript or event-based architectures. Oh man, I got an error.
I still haven't gotten an error yet.
But I mean, I got the error button. Let me grab the right colors for that error. Ooh, that is an angry red. Angry red. And wow, this error state is just... It's funky. It's doing a lot of things, a lot of animations. It's really fun.
Yeah, while you're plugging that color in, I'll go back to our extension GIF scrubber, and we can see the
what's happening with that error state.
Yeah, so the progress bar turns red, and then the progress bar is actually expanding into just kind of a pill shape around error, and then then that pill splits into 2 with this nice little pinch effect.
Yeah, it does some meiosis or mitosis or something.
That's right. Some cell division, and then those become buttons, and it goes from there.
All right, I'm making it so that it pretty much always goes to the error state, or it has a 90% chance of going to the error state, rather.
And you know what? I've got an interesting idea for the element event listener. So we've got our function there. Let's tell it to send l.dataset.click for click. And then for the error state, we can actually have 2 of those UI buttons, for one for refresh and or one for cancel. So let me actually just...
What's going on here?
That's what I was just explaining, David. So this will either try to send the dataset value from the button, or just send a click event. So for example, in the error state, we can have button class equals UI button and say reset. And on that, we can have data click equals send.
I'm trying to figure out your parentheses mess first of all.
Parentheses mess. Nothing's messed up.
But don't worry. We'll figure this out. I did nothing. It was you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Retry or cancel.
Okay.
Let's go.
Is that
sending?
Oh, that worked. Good. Okay, I fixed it.
All right. So clicking send has a good chance of going to the error state, and then there's retry or cancel. In theory, okay, it is not. Oh, I've got to capitalize that. Capitalize that. Oh.
Did you read the error message? It says Wi-Fi no connected, dum-dum.
That's right. Let's go.
That's fantastic.
Click equals retry. Data click equals cancel. There we go. All right. Let's try this again. And while we're testing, I'm going to go ahead and bump that time down to 2000. Hey, thanks for following. I'm bumping that time down. Okay, cancel. Okay, awesome. So if you look in the HTML under that error state, I've just got data click attributes and then the
that's really, really smart.
Yeah, that way you can just have the default click listener if you just have one thing to watch out for, or you can submit that data click attribute. So in this case, for the retry button, I've got a retry event in error that sends us back to the sending state, and data click equals cancel that triggers the cancel event to go back to the start. That way we don't have to target each of those buttons, and this gives us a little more flexibility too in the future if we need it.
Yeah, and so yeah, all these patterns are evolving just like based on what we've done last time, and so now I guess you're also seeing ways like, yeah, we can make this a lot easier to do. So that's great. I dig it. Okay, I'm adding emojis.
Of course. That's what every app needs.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, so we have our states. They're not morphing into each other. I guess we'll take care of that a little bit later, but I guess we could look at this. I'm gonna add a modifier class of circle to those buttons, or actually I'll call them icon. That's a bit more semantic, and that's just so that we have them perfectly round, and so we don't have that extra padding and stuff like that. But yeah, maybe we could take a look at the whole morphy button thing.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the funnest aspect of this to figure out. Funnerist.
Funnerist, that's a word.
Yes. Notorious P1T in the chat. Maybe something like data next equals retry would be more semantic. Since it's just happening on the click listener and not technically telling it what to do next, it's just firing an event from that. That's just telling it what event to fire on click, basically, because it wouldn't necessarily change state just by firing an event. It could just, it could do other things.
Yeah, so I'm going to set the states. I'm going to freeze it to error. I think that's a good idea.
Bum, bum, bum. And then one thing you always seem to avoid doing is setting the state on the initial, or on the app itself, lapp.dataset.state.
Oh.
Let's see. Why didn't that work?
Okay, so basically you want to read it from the top.
Yes. And why did that not work? It's error. Machine.initial. That's silly. Why is it going to sending?
All right.
Are we not triggering send, or not triggering activate?
Well, let's log this out.
Shouldn't we be sending send?
It's sending.
Well, we're activating the current state, but we're not specifically sending current state.
Because I have some rogue Java. I have some rogue JavaScript at the top. I was manually activating sending for whatever reason. So all right, we're frozen now.
There we go. All right.
Yay.
Let it go.
All right, let's get ready to morph. And also, I want to add that text underneath the error because that seems like a good idea.
Yeah. All right. So let's start around line 60 in our CSS here. So yeah, that's a bit tricky to pull off because we're going from this shape to another state.
Yeah, and it doesn't need to be exact, but I was thinking that we could Gooify it, and we could play with transforms and sort of get it sort of looking like that.
That's right. And this is an article I often go back to called the Gooey effect that covers a bunch of uses of SVG Goo technique on CSS tricks by the wonderful Lucas Beber. Isn't that who does the Barba library? Or am I thinking of something else?
Lucas Beber?
Yeah.
He did a few things. He's who I learned the squiggle vision from.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
Yep, there it is. Squiggly text. Okay, anyway, so the GUI effect, you can just go in here and copy and paste like the best developers do. Filter equals goo. Got it. And I'll add that.
Yeah, I'm looking how this is going to be. Man, it's such a cool effect, though. So my thinking was, what if each of these circle buttons, you know, the icon buttons, what if they were, no, I don't know. I was going to say, what if they were full width? And then they shrunk down to their circly bits.
That just sounds wrong.
Wow, that's an interesting problem because it's sort of morphy, but at the same time, it's not. It's more like an SVG sort of thing.
Yeah. One thing I suggested when we were talking through this earlier was just doing a background color for those buttons instead of the border. And then we had talked about doing a rectangle kind of in between them that would then allow the GUI stuff to happen.
Yeah.
Should we try that, or?
It's an interesting challenge. Yeah.
.goo filter position absolute.
It's so gooey, but it looks so good.
I mean, it's a very unique goo, I would say.
Yeah.
let's see, UI layer. I'm going to go ahead and add an error class to that. And then we actually don't need a UI button on that. Title.
All right. Wi-Fi no connected. Dum dum.
That's right. Let's see.
Yeah. I wonder if this might be a 2-episode thing, just because there is a lot going on here.
Mm-hmm.
But while you're working on that, I'm going to, at the very least, work on the transition, like how we're going to go between the first state sent to the progress bar, like just that morphing. And then I'll explain that afterwards.
Yes.
If that sounds good to you.
Yep.
All right.
I've
Goo
got the,
filter.
Yeah, I've got the goo happening at the bottom.
Yeah, and we don't need to recreate it exactly, but just like
Right.
whatever's close enough.
Yes. Actually, we can do that in our main.
And so in order to do the morphing thing, I'm going to use the UIBG pattern that we've seen before. Just let me know. And then...
Sorry, I broke some things. Okay.
Yeah, let's see how that looks. Aha.
Okay, so UIBG is going to be the square, basically?
Right, yes. And so I guess that means I have to UI progress that before needs to be an after now, just so it sits on top. And the reason is that UIBG is what's going to be morphing between, basically between the buttons. So.
Let's see, UI layer error.
Well, let me go through this slowly and figure it out.
Oh.
Yeah, that looks about right.
Well, your toggle here is breaking things because that should be display flex. There we go.
Okay, so I'm going to take that BG. It's going to squish. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is a cool thing about pair programming, is that we could work on 2 completely different things at the same time and still conflict with each other, but at least we know who to blame at that exact moment. Instead of waiting, there's like no delay.
Well, the real benefit of pair programming is you always have someone else to blame it on.
Oh, yeah, that's right. This is true. Okay, and so we could add a .uibg here too. Right.
I broke some things, don't worry.
Oh, thanks. Breaking things is the first step to fixing things.
Sure.
Did you break some JavaScript, or
no,
there's like
some CSS? I'm doing just a little bit of layout there. Yep. There we go.
Okay. Huh. Have you noticed that the pen settings have changed?
Yes, it's actually a nice little redesign. I assume. Oh, who's the designer they just hired?
Yeah, it's a brand new designer.
CodePen Radio. She was on there. Oops. She was on there recently, talking about their design approaches, and that was a lovely little episode. Claire Frank. Yeah.
Oh,
She was the recent hire over at CodePen and is the reason you're seeing a lot of nice little improvements. It's not anything drastic or I mean it has big implications, but it's not anything that like slaps you in the face. It's just like, oh, hey, that actually looks a lot better now, or that's a lot more functional now. And so that's always nice to see rolling out. Okay, so
oh, did you make error always show, or
yeah, it's well, it's currently just the data state. Oh, I see. Yes, it should now not be always showing.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. There we go.
Just making sure. Okay. Key equals background. Okay. See if that works. Huh. Does not work. Okay, let's figure this out.
Yeah, did you break something, David?
No. Did you?
Probably. Yeah,
No, I promise I.
The state transition does not seem to be working properly.
Yeah, well, what did I do?
Oh, I think I see what that is. I see. That, nope. Oh, you retry should go directly to sending. Cancel goes to send. That's part of it.
Right.
There we go. Cancel, send. Okay. Retry. I don't know why my animation is not working anymore, but let's see. UI fake load, BG, after.
Which animation?
The just fake loader animation.
Try again. Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
It wasn't me, I promise. I don't know what happened there.
Is it the UI BG?
It might be. Oh, you know what? No. It's
yeah,
not.
it's something
Is it?
to do with that. Because it was just covering it up. That's what was happening. So we need to just z-index bump the after. That's nope. Z-index 3. Background green. Nope.
Well, oddly enough, it still doesn't work. Or maybe I need to reload my thingy. Or did he make it a different color?
Well, I'm just trying to get that after to show up. But UIBG seems to be overriding it.
Yeah, I wonder why that is exactly.
Yeah, because the after there, I've got a z-index bump on it. So it should be, oh, top 0, left 0.
Oh, that's...
Yep, that was it. Okay. BG. Oh, and you're overriding that there. Okay, yeah, now it's working.
Okay, cool. All right, so I'm actually using the animation debugger over here right now. Just in case you're curious, just because it's really, really, really useful. Just trying to debug an animation real quick. It's basically good for like if an animation isn't doing exactly what you want it to do, then
Yes, and that's the DevTools
yeah.
drawer animation. Shows you a little bit of what's happening and can even do simple screenshots and give you a little scrubber of things. Doesn't always work when you're switching around between states, but sometimes it works fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's actually really, really powerful. All right, I need a scale animation.
Sorry, my microphone is falling down.
Scale animation.
Just ignore me. I'll be right back. And it back. Hey everyone. All right.
No, it's not doing anything.
Okay, so in UI error, UI layer error, do you have the BG in there yet? No. Div class equals UI BG. I'll set that up to give us that effect.
Is it storming by you?
There was a car just driving by.
Oh, okay. So not a storm.
No. I think.
Okay, it works. It's just I'm a dummy, but it works. So I'm going to.
Don't we need overflow hidden?
It's a bit silly, but okay. What I'm going to do is data flip key equals BG. We get rid of the G. Okay, this is going to look weird, but at least it morphs. Oh God. Did you see what? Nailed it.
I'm not sure what's happening here, David.
I totally nailed it. That's what happened. And that's exactly how it's supposed to look. No.
I'm playing Snake here.
Oh, I'm just playing with flipping. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Check it out.
Oh yeah. Okay, so going from send to yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, explain what you did really quick for those following along at home.
Oh yeah, sure. So I used flipping, and so I set the same data flip key for the UI progress just to get its dimensions, and the entire, or sorry, not the UI progress, the UI buttons BG, which just stretches to fill the entire UI button, and the UI progress. So of course the UI progress is shorter and longer. Wait, that doesn't make sense. Its height is smaller and it is longer widthwise. I probably could have found a better way to say that, but yeah. Than the original send button. And what that means is it's going to shrink in height, but lengthen in width. And so the flipping library automatically does that, unless you change things, which you are.
Yeah. Ignore me.
Yeah, so it does that, which is pretty cool. I just need to tweak a few things like border radius, just make it look a little better. Yeah.
All right. Sorry.
But I mean, for now, that should be fine.
Yep. UI Goo. Let's.
And then we can make it stretch back up to error, but you're still working on that, so.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to work on refining that that squishy animation, because what it should be doing is like, this is a border radius animation, so those you have to be careful about. But yeah, there is a way though to calculate exactly how much border radius you need. And I am trying to think of that way. Because right now it's just a square, and that's not exactly what we want.
Yeah. Yeah, with the error state, I'm still working.
Yeah, no worries. I'm going to continue with the flipping thing, just so that it smoothly goes from the full send state over to the yeah. If I could do anything. Now I can't click anything.
Oh, yeah, I moved BG. Sorry. There we go. Okay.
That's okay. Thanks.
All right.
Thanks.
Filter URL Goo. I believe that's all we need. UIBG. Go width. 100% background. White border.
Okay. Let's see that.
Height 100%. Between this should instead be margin.
I see some goo happening.
Yeah.
It happens to be on the emoticons, which is a little interesting.
Yeah, I think it's because there's no background on UI button. Background white. Let's see here. Okay, we got a little bit of goo happening. Let's see, what's our gray color?
Is there a way to make it more gooey?
Yes.
Like really gooey.
Yes. Height 1%.
Super gooey.
Super goo.
We could literally call this episode Gooey Gooey. Gooey GUI. Get it? I don't know.
I like it.
Probably not. Not a good idea. I don't know.
I'm all right. I'm all right with that. Adding VREM 2.5.
Okay,
sure.
I have to do some math.
No.
Did you say no to me saying I have to do some math?
Yes.
Okay. So my math is, if we are squishing something that is a height of 0.5 rem from a height of 5 rem, so we have to stretch it out initially. That's how the flip technique works. And so we're taking something that's 0.5 rem in height, and we're stretching it 5 rem. That means it's going to be 10 times as tall, right?
Sure.
All right, so when that happens, that means our initial border radius needs to be well, it's also getting wider. You know what? The math is too much for me right now, so I'm just going to play with numbers, which always seems to be a good technique. You're having some fun with that rectangle there.
Trying to. Yeah, we definitely need to bump up the goo level. I'm trying to remember what the values are in that. 10 pixels.
Hmm. I wonder what was the math to affect like the border radius, like the x versus the y.
Border radius x versus y. Oh, the order of those properties?
Well, all right, so basically I want the horizontal border radiuses to be more than the you know, top. What is a syntax for this? There's so many syntaxes. Syntaxes. All right, so first radius values.
Oh, whoa. Does not
Wow.
like.
Did you know how many different like ways you could specify border radius? It's insane.
Yeah, that syntax is a mess.
No, it is. And I feel like ironically this would be one of the things that they didn't consider a mistake in the CSS spec. There are mistakes like, white space, no wrap, where we have white dash space and no wrap without a dash. Although that could mean they're so committed to that no wrap that they removed the space in the middle. Maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna go all manual here. So sometimes when I don't remember the syntax or anything, I just go manual. So border top right radius. I know that like the syntax for like each individual radius, it goes X and then Y. So we could specify 10 rem 50%. Why not? So we could just test that out. But we have a CSS error somewhere. Do we? No, we don't.
I was breaking things. I see. Something is not working how I want it to. Retry.
Alright, top radius. Top radius. Okay. Border bottom right radius, border bottom left radius. I'm sure there's an easier way to do this. But that's okay.
Message.
All right, so let's make this faster and see what happens. Any luck on the gooiness?
Some. Ooh. That's a nice little send state transition you've got going. Let's get that a little more zoomed. Very nice. Yeah, my goo is not gooing very well.
Oh, the things we say on this show.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it depends like where the goo ends up. Like it has to be on the exact same layer, or like the SVG filter has to be applied on the
right, and it is. I'm just not getting the right values here to get it to be a strong effect. I always forget what.
Is it that's not a strong effect, or it's not? Oh wait, I see something happening.
Yeah, if you play with the values, you can get some strong stuff happening, but it's not the right thing because we're gooing white on top of white, and so it just with the gray it just ends up being a little bit silly. So if we do background red and red, then you can see some better goo happening.
Well, that's an interesting problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what the best way to tackle that is, actually.
Yeah, that's why I was suggesting just going with the background color and no border on those specific ones.
Let's try this. What if we did a stylistic change and made the error background just a light red? Or even gray.
Of the entire page, or?
No, of just the error button. I just made that a nice big red button. And yeah. Well, what do you think about that?
That can work. Let's comment out that.
So we just have to figure out what's applying the error class.
Error is on the oops. Ooh, that's too tiny. Error is on the main layer for this.
Oh, okay.
But you're saying apply it to the entire body?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you just pseudo element?
Just kidding. Yeah, because I don't know. I'm just going back to the GIF, and we want to, I guess, morph to that error class, and then it morphs to the two separate buttons.
Right.
So, yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
We should really make a library or something that makes this a lot easier. Where it's just like, here's a state, it's going to just magically morph into this other state.
Yes.
Which flipping does, but not to this morphy GUI level.
Yeah.
Like this is way too GUI for flipping.
Yeah. Transform, translate x0. Let's do this button in transform, translate x 50%, and this also receive that. And then I just unified the animation of those into one single keyframe. So yeah, if you look at it now, you can see a little bit of that goo happening. If this animation were a little bit faster, you could probably make that out better.
Yeah.
But it gives you some nice goo there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just need to add a border radius to the bigger square, and then we'll be good to go, sort of.
Yeah, I've got the border radius on there now. And then we can go ahead and bump the speed up just a little bit.
Oh, I'm thinking like for it to better disappear, let the rectangular part like be completely full width. Like let it stretch with the buttons. And that way it's always connected. Like, have you ever like, this is gonna sound gross, but like pulled apart a piece of chewed up gum and like stretched it out?
Yeah.
Yeah, sort of like that. Like going with that GUI analogy. So it stretches with it.
Yep, I've got that in there now.
Oh, there we go. So we have a this literally looks like bubble gum.
Yeah, I just applied pink. I'm not sure if that's what we want to go with, but it's errory.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Okay.
In the actual animation, the error text is not red, so we can use that red for it instead.
Yeah, we have a lot of stylistic abilities with this
GUI
one now.
button background color, and then animation duration. 1 second. Let's do that. Down.
And of course, we're going to have some sort of, that looks nice and angry.
Yeah, we'll probably need some proper icons versus emoji in there.
Do the circles ever come all the way in?
I've just got them translated a little bit. That could probably be 100% now. Yeah.
So I want to tell you about a cool code pen that I saw just the other week, and I'm going to copy and paste it into the Twitch Keyframers chat. And so this was going on your whole emoji thing, but we could create solid color silhouettes of emojis, which I think is really, really cool.
That's true.
And so this, in case you're wondering, this is a nice, quick, easy way to just get like icons, I guess. It's also a very cheap way, but you all know me. I don't mind being cheap about this. It's like, if it gets the job done, I'm totally cool with it. And so I guess the trick to it is that the color of the emoji has to be transparent. So that's step number one.
Yes. As I'm showing now, you can also use background clip and make patriotic emojis. This is an old pin that I shared a few weeks back. That's quite fun. Using that same technique with emoji.
Yeah.
But
I feel like there's still a whole world of emoji manipulation that's yet to be tapped into. Well, that we've just begun to tap into. But anyway, I just made the emojis, the requested emojis, nice and white.
Where did you do that?
I did that in dash icon. So UI button dash icon. Because that's what those are. Line.
Oh, okay, I see.
40 something or other.
Yeah.
All right, but I do need to change one of the emojis.
Yes.
So in terms of the priority scale of things we have to do, this comes pretty dang high in the list. However, I have a feeling this will be a two-part animation just because there is a lot going on in this animation, but let's at least get these 3 states down pat.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Where is the, you know what, I don't know, I can't find a good emoji, so I'm going to use this one, which is probably wrong, but I don't know, unless you could think of a better one.
I'll do some searching in a moment. In the meantime, translate. Let's go from. Nope.
Like, I'm wondering if there's a. Well, there's like a. Hold on. Is that a? There are recycling symbols. That's cool. So I could just use that for reload, and that's definitely what I'm going to do because I have no shame. So you could choose to recycle your UI.
Yes.
I like the GUI effect. I just don't like it going back and forth.
Yeah, sorry. Just for testing. And UI button should probably be overflow hidden.
This looks like a flexing muscle fiber.
That's quite nice.
Yeah, that is quite nice. Do you like my recycle symbol?
I love it.
You could be honest. It's all right. I'll just keep adding ones until you until you like one of them.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that there's a like reload Unicode icon. I just cannot find it anywhere.
Let's unify our...
How about hot springs or snowman? Those are some fun Unicode symbols.
I think those will work. Okay, is there anything? Yeah, there we go.
Nope, I'm keeping it. It's a recycle symbol.
Oh, we need to do animation fill node.
All right, let's see what Shaw's up to.
Shaw.
Okay, so we go send, perfect. That morphs to error.
Mm-hmm. And I'm getting some random overflow stuff happening. Ooh, yeah, some very weird states with the UIBG and flipping.
Right. So yeah, that's because of flipping. Can we do an animation delay just like the animation, the original animation, where the splitting, not the letter splitting, but the morphing GUI splitting doesn't happen until like a second delay or something like that?
Added 0.5 seconds.
Yeah, 0.5 should be fine. So like that error button in animation.
Yep.
Right there. So error button in, which should happen only when, oh yeah, it's only going to happen when, actually no, it's not. Basically, we want it to happen when it's data active, right?
Yes. So that's an easy enough.
Yeah. And so that way we give flipping time to stretch up and then do that. And okay, so what we could do is we could have the icon buttons opacity 0 so that they're not visible, or you could do visibility hidden until after that 5 or 0.5 second delay. And that way it's going to look really nice. That makes sense.
I think so. Let me see. Yep. Did some opacitying. Let's change that a little bit to 100%, do like 20%, opacity 1. How's that feel?
Nice. That's actually pretty cool.
Feels about right. My centering is not amazing, but center. Yeah, not sure what's happening.
All right, but we just need to make sure that all of that, every single animation for the error state happens and is only applied with that data active state.
Yes. I'll make that adjustment.
So that's because when we restart it, the background flipping doesn't apply. Right. And I think it could be because of that, but I think you actually just fixed it, so that's great.
Not specifically. It probably reset though. Let's see. Let's do that and that. UI button. Span. That. And this for UIBG. Did I break it?
7. Yeah, this is definitely a fun animation.
Is data active being applied? Oh, data active and no.
Yes, it should
sorry.
be magically.
I just need to fix my selectors. There we go.
Okay, let's test that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that, well, minus a few tweaks, that could be a good stopping point for now, just because. Oh, what do you think about like continuing the rest of this in another episode?
Yeah. So there's definitely a lot of fine tuning that needs to happen. This is the basic approach to it. Let's just go back to the original and watch a little bit here, because we've got to do some color transitions and the button outline transition and in some better ways. So yeah, there's some room to improve here, and some more techniques to explore in another episode, I think.
Yeah, but we are definitely at a good halfway point through doing this. I will say my absolute favorite part of this is that GUI stuff you did. Like, that's just fun. That is so much fun.
It is a great technique that really.
It's like super smooth too.
Yeah, surprisingly so. Now it doesn't work great with like the border happening like that, like that original animation, but it's a good approach overall, I'd say.
Yeah.
Let me see. Real quick, I'm just looking for an arrow to replace recycling. Here we go.
What? You'll like my recycle error.
Nah. Here we go. How about that?
That's good. Where did you find that?
Unicode.
Oh, well, I did not look hard enough, and you looked harder, so.
Sometimes you just gotta branch out of the emoji sphere.
Yeah.
I think there's even a better X out there, but anyway, that's something we can tackle another time. Shall we? Oh, nope, hold on, I found it. If I just talk long enough, I can install. Yep, there we go. And the beautiful part of this is we can just color them without text shadow, but hey, we don't specifically have to do that.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot better. Okay, cool.
Yeah. All right, so I think we'll bring this to the portion of the show known as. Wait for it. Wait for it. Keyflections.
Yeah.
This is a quick review of the techniques we use to build this animation. If you have any questions, now is a great time to ask in the chat, and we'll be happy to answer as we go. And again, this will be a two-parter, so we'll return to this one next week to finish building out some of the other pieces of this.
Yeah. And so if you've enjoyed watching us so far tackle this very complex animation, which, it is complex. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of GUI parts, a lot of state management, a lot of just everything. Like, when we say give us your challenges, we mean it, and this is definitely a challenge, which is really great. But yeah, you could follow and subscribe here on Twitch or YouTube, or pledge at patreon.com/keyframers. The links are available below. And it's just a great way to say, hey, we like what you're doing, or hey, we need clarification on this, or hey, here's some more challenges because we like making your lives difficult. So.
Yes, and all of you out there asking about courses and Udemy and all of that, if you show your support in lots of ways, we'll will certainly be more capable of releasing that kind of content. So
Yes.
get out there and show that to us. All right, so let's keyflect a little bit. So again, this was a challenge submitted by Charles, and it's called Dynamic Buttons by Colin Garvin, and it's just a beautiful little state transition here from sending to a loading progress to an error, back to progress, and then to a success state. So let's go in, and we can set our initial state to send now, so that we start off in the right spot. And then we click send. We get that nice loading transition into our SVG Goo split. And then if we retry, we get a few issues with flipping there because of the.
So, yeah.
I actually think I know a quick fix for that. Why don't you talk about one of the techniques really quick while I attempt something?
Yeah, so speaking of flipping, the way we did flipping here was we just basically have the same flip key for, for the send background, so the dimensions of the send, as well as the progress background and the error background. And so what's going to happen is we tell flipping when exactly those states change. And since we set up everything as a state machine, there's only one place where the states change, which is this send function. And so when that happens, flipping knows, okay, something changed, and it calculates what's changed and which data flip keys are now active. And then it just morphs between each of the keys. So yeah, that's what that's doing. It's going back and forth between that. And yeah, I mean, the effect looks pretty good. It could be tweaked. Doing flip animations is definitely a tough problem, and that's why I created the library flipping. It's there's still a lot of nuances to it, and state machines play a big role in that, just because your app changes state over time, and depending on which state it's in, different animations can happen. And we've seen that, and right now Shaw is working on something related to that, and that's because that data flip key that we have, it's static. It's in the HTML. It's not changing, which means when we try to reload the animation, it's trying to read a data flip position that is it's like very skinny or very tiny or something like it. It basically goes to infinity or something. It does something really weird.
Right. You definitely get some math errors there. So what I did in the animation in data active around line 190, for the UIBG, that's what scales up from kind of the loading progress bar into the red piece for the error state. Let's trigger that again. There we go. So the UIBG is that thing that kind of smushes down. I added a few additional keyframes here. I'm actually going to bump this up a little bit to do that. And then basically it's reaching its end state of visually of where we want it to end of scale 1. And I don't know why that just died. Okay, there we go. So it's reaching that end state of being collapsed down to scale Y 0 here. And then I toggle it over to opacity 0 and transform scale it back up, but leave it opacity 0. And then that allows it to be the proper size. But it's hidden, and so flipping can now read the correct position of it.
Yeah, and in a future version of flipping, there's going to be better ways to handle that, but that's a good way to handle that, and it looks great. So yes, we're good there.
So yeah, with our state machine, we've got that activate function that's toggling all the data attributes based on the state that's provided. And then our state machine here is got all the states that we're tracking, and then the events that are sent to it and how that progresses. And then David explained the send and how that's transitioning there. All of our buttons, whenever they're clicked, they send a click event, or if it has a data click attribute like our retry and cancel buttons, it sends that event instead. So that's how on error we're able to submit retry or cancel to get back to the initial state, or to retry with the sending there. All right. And one of the things we talked about right at the start is our afflex. What do we call it? Our flex overlap trick, where our app, the main container here, is display flex, and then each of these UI layers is width 100%, margin right negative 100%, and that just causes all the layers to stack up on top of each other. So if I disable display none, we can see every state all at once, all the time, and that is not really what you want. So we toggle that down to display none, and then we can only show the specific layer that we want. Good gravy, what is that?
Okay, so just to better explain this state machine and the reason why, you're probably thinking, why didn't you use a switch statement? Why didn't you use if, else, whatever? If you click that, I basically copy and pasted the state machine, and this, you could just click the big state and center it.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a big visual of our state machine, and I would say it's pretty easy to read. So if you click info, and then actually, so info on the right,
Yes.
top right, and you click simulate, like just one of the events, then
click.
You could actually go through the behavior of your application. And so this is why this stuff is so useful, because you could visually see, okay, if I click sent, it's going to go to sent. If I click error, it's going to go to error. And it just makes things like that very, very clear.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And this is XState, one of the helper libraries of that. Is that right?
Yeah. But funny enough, in our CodePen, we're not using any helper library. We're just, that's a raw object.
Other than flipping, but that's for the visual effect.
Yeah.
Okay. So moving on, nothing too special with our UI button. The UI progress, I actually discovered that this worked rather well, of applying the CSS variable in a CSS animation, and then the child element using that CSS variable produces the kind of animation that we expect. And I'm going to add a data active to that to make it activate whenever it's actually active. There we go. All right. That should, yeah, it works rather well. And what else did we do, David?
What happened?
What else did we do, David?
I think that's mostly it.
I can cover the Goo filter really quick, because
I was gonna say the GUI thing, that's the most important.
Yeah. So our error state here, when we load, we get kind of a smooth transition of those buttons coming out while the background comes in. That is powered by the SVG Goo filter happening down here. This is just providing a filter for the CSS to use. If we look here around line 115, we've got our UI Goo container and that's holding the BG, the UI buttons, and then the filter equals URL Goo gives us that specific effect. Let's see. Oh, we want an error state. There we go. And that we will probably play with a little bit more next time. But for now, that UI Goo as the BG scales down to 0, and then the UI buttons are moved in and they're rolling out, while the spans are the icons inside of them are out and coming in at that same time. And then yeah, you get that nice beautiful transition.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Yeah,
if you have any questions, feel free to ask, but we will start to wrap this up here. Let me get a little bit of beautiful theme music going. You've been watching Keyframers, the animated collaborative coding live stream where we bring imaginative user interfaces to life. If you've liked this episode and would like to see more from David and I, there are many ways you can support us. You can subscribe and participate in the live streams here every Monday at twitch.tv/keyframers. You can also like and subscribe at youtube.com/keyframers, and that's where we'll have the archive of this video as well as all of our other videos, past episodes that you should definitely check out. Another way to support us is just tweeting at us and spreading the word about our episodes. You can do that at twitter.com/keyframers. And the best way to support us is at patreon.com/keyframers. And this helps us with ongoing support and allows us to do even more than just these live streams. So we'd love to have you support us there.
Yeah, speaking of the future, we do accept submissions for future episodes, so tweet us with any animations you'd like to see made, or present questions, challenges, or just fun puns or jokes or something to us that we'll try to observe, answer, and comment on while on the air.
That's right. Do be sure to share this video and demo across your social platforms. And that's all we got for tonight. Is that anything else, David?
I think that's all, except that's not all, because this is like basically a week-long intermission. We're going to be showing you the next half of this next week.
Right, part 2.
So, yes.
1.17.1 coming next week.
Yeah.
So
this is a challenge. Doesn't mean it's impossible. It's not impossible.
No. Just putting a pause on it for now. So thank you all for joining us. Until next time, adios, amigos.
Adios.